Hey, I'm John from Scopestack. Today I want to walk you through our new onboarding flow, which really will help you orient yourself to your new Scopestack account. So let's dive straight in. First off, we're going to go through some definitions that we have built into Scopestack. So the first thing that we're going to be walking through is a project. Project is essentially a scope of work. So let's walk through some of the components that fit within a project. In every project, there are services, right? So this is, a wireless survey or a router or a managed service. Every service is associated to a phase, right? And so this will be important both for our work breakdown structure, as well as when we push all this data to a PSA. So whether it's Autotask, ConnectWise, or some of the upcoming PSA integrations that we have. So again, every service is associated to a phase. At the same time, every service has subservices within it. So those subservices are the granular steps. And again, you don't have to go super granular with those. Think of, in this scenario, let's call the service a router, right? And one of the steps is we're going to rack and stack it. Another step is configure layer 3. Another one's configure layer 2, right? And so within those subservices, that's what you're going to align the level of effort to, right? So you can also think about it as things that will drive level of effort up or down. So if you're not going to do layer 3 for a router, then you simply zero that out, and the language and the level of effort won't be calculated on your project. So each of these phases, you'll see your account comes with some very high-level plan, operate, design, implement. You can, at this point in your onboarding flow, configure what those are. So if you just have one phase called statement of work or service, that could be your phase. But if you have, if you call it something different, feel free to update, those phase names that we have pre-built in for you. The purpose of this onboarding flow is to really make this align to your business and make it useful for your business. Language fields. Language fields, as you can see here, this is where we're going to define our very detailed language that will show up in a statement of work. So again, those subservice steps may not be something that you want to show the client because that's how you're calculating all your level of effort. But a service description can be, right, rack and stack has a lot of narrative context around what you're going to do, and there might be multiple steps involved in that. But it's consistent language every single time. Same with layer 2 or layer 3, right? Those are the nitty-gritty details of what you want to show in the statement of work. And again, you can show it, not show it. There's a lot of flexibility in it, but this is where you'll define those. And typically what you'll see here, we've aligned each of these language fields to sections of our statement of work template that you have in your account when you sign up. Again, we kind of think about this as if you have some key sections in your statement of work that you want to make sure there's language included and it's driven by a service, then you'd want to go ahead and define those, either add a new one or modify these that you have available to you. All right, so one of the large components, right? So you've set up phases, you've set up your services, the steps involved, as well as define some granular language. The other component that is a key to your account is setting up resource rates, right? So these are the billable rates for charging for your service, all right? So in this scenario, consultant, $200, that's your sell price, cost being $130. So if that aligns to your business, great, you got lucky. Otherwise, you might want to adjust like those names and or the hourly rate and the hourly cost that aligns to how you're currently selling things today. And again, my guidance on this is if you can avoid creating a long laundry list of resources, it's easier to use a platform at that point. However, we have clients that have us up to thousands of very unique resource rates based on cost centers and a lot of detail associated to that. But for now, I think to get you off the ground, just having some very basic resources that you do a lot of, you sell a lot of their time, that's where you'll want to start. Next component is something that we call project governance. So governance are, project management time, documentation time, contingency time. These are those things that every single project, you don't want to forget them. However, because we're all going so fast, we're trying to manually do all this work, we often overlook them because it's not a part of the service, right? However, these are very critical tasks for any project to be delivered successfully. So what we've done here is we've used the rule of thumb of 20% level of effort for a PM. We took that, allow you to define, what are those things that we need to add to every single project. And, my suggestion is to add it at a percentage level. And so as your project level of effort increases or decreases, that number also ebbs and flows with your project. It's a great way to make sure you're accounting for some of those tasks that just oftentimes get overlooked. Now, again, you can see here, we have project management, documentation, contingency time. Feel free to add your own, right? We've had some users actually add Scopestack to it, right? So this is actually how they end up paying for Scopestack. Every project that they scope out, that they win, they're accounting for that cost already. Another value add here in this free account or in your paid account, if this is your first paid account, is our service library. So we have about 50 plus pre-built services that came from a very mature MSP, client of ours for a long time, really believes in what we're doing with the platform and said, hey, this is difficult for me, multiple years ago. I'd love to offer this to anyone, onboarding in Scopestack just to make their life easier. And so you can kind of rest assured that this is, not just us making up stuff, but very applicable information for your organization, whether you're an MSP or a VAR. The idea here is you can come in and click into some of the services that you think are relevant to pull into your account, right? And the idea is that you'll pull those into your account. And at that point, they're yours. You can make them your own, modify them however you want. No one else will see that after you make those modifications, or no one will see anything in your account. But right, so just kind of scroll through here and you can see some key activities or key services that you might want to pull into your account. So that's a very high-level view of our onboarding flow, right? We've showed you how to set up your resource rates, set up your services around lines of business, phases, service descriptions. And at that point, you really are ready to create your first project. So on this screen right here, as you can see, there are a couple different options. So if you need some help, whether it's from our sales team, our CX team, feel free to book a demo with us. We'd be glad to walk you through. I'd be glad to walk you through. I have other members of the team that would be glad to walk you through your account. Scopestack 101, this is from our CX leader. It's a very extensive video, probably more detailed than you'd see in this one. But again, it's a very deep drive down into the technical details of Scopestack and how everything works. Some example projects, we pre-built a few projects in your account. You probably noticed that in your projects list if you've navigated there already. So feel free to peruse those, generate the document, and get a good feel for what it looks like. So again, you've gone through the onboarding flow and now you're ready to scope out your first project. Absolutely, you can do that. So you click Create New Project right here, and it'll take you through the guided scoping experience of scoping out your first project. Thank you for listening. Excited to have you on board the Scopestack team, and we look forward to working with you.